The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode. And now, here he is, Brandon.
Salutations, it's the Brandon Peters Show, and back with another installment in the Tarkovsky's Tales series. It's our retrospective on film auteur Andrei Tarkovsky. Joining me today, my co-host for this cinematic adventure, author, owner of Gallifrey-based programmer at Chicago TARDIS, and on certain nights of the week, the soundtrack to your life, Stephen Warren Hill.
Good evening, Brandon. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. By soundtrack your life, you still do some DJing.
I do.
on and anybody can join that, right?
Yes. It's on Twitch and it's free. So yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. What do you? I've never listened to you. What do you typically spin that you do?
Well, it's a little bit of a throwback to my nightclub DJing days in the 90s. And my favorite music is industrial music dance music from the 90s and alternative club music from the 80s and the early 90s.
Okay.
So it's a lot of New Order, Cure, Depeche Mode, Front 242, Skinny Puppy, Ministry, that kind of thing.
Gotcha. Awesome. All righty. And the Twitch, is it, you say Twitch, right?
Yes, it's on twitch.tv, and I think my handle is DJ Steve Hill 950.
950. Okay. Did you have like a DJ name back when you were doing it back in the day? Or just...
I used my name. I was DJ Steve Hill.
All right, cool. Very cool. All right. Well, today we are going to be discussing 1975's Mirror.
Это фильм о женщине, чья жизнь обогащает чувствами и заставляет задуматься. Мосфильм представляет Маргариту Терехову в новом фильме «Зеркало». Режиссер Андрей Тарковский.
Свиданий наших каждое мгновенье мы праздновали, как богоявленье. Ты была смелей и легче птичьего крыла. По лестнице, как головокруженье, через ступень сбегала и вела сквозь влажную сирень в свои владенья с той стороны зеркального стекла.
Кстати, мам, а в каком году от нас отец ушел? В 36-м или 37-м?
Выходить мне за него замуж или нет?
Фильм «Зеркало» создан на киностудии «Мосфильм», СССР.
which is directed by Andrei Tarkovsky, written by Alexander Misharin, Andrei Tarkovsky, with poems by Arseny Tarkovsky, starring Margarita Terakova, Oleg Yankovsky, Philip Yankosly, Ignat Danislev, Nikolai Grinko, Ayla Demidova, Yurly Nazarov, and Anatoly Solonitsyn. I think I did those okay.
Not bad. And you got to just go for it,
I
because
do.
you're not going to get it perfect, right?
I do. I didn't rehearse. So in this movie, he continues work with composer Eduard Artemyev, who he brought on for Solaris, and will go on to Stalker. And you hear that kind of like organ stuff that I said sounded like Whiter Shade of Pale. But he starts here with cinematographer Georgi Reinberg, who goes on to start Stalker, but does not. He gets replaced during filming, which is crazy because his work here is stellar.
It is.
And is like, yeah, this is Tarkovsky. But I think, Tarkovsky's maybe a strong director that we can kind of, there's a similarity, not to get right into the movie or anything right here, but there's a similarity where we go all the way back to was the boy and the short film, the color short film. What was it called?
Oh yeah, the steamroller and the violin.
In the violin, yes. The boy. It was about a boy. But there's a similarity in the cinematography that starts there that I see through a lot of his films. Definitely, while he hires a cinematographer, he has a distinct idea what he wants and the look of what he wants.
Absolutely.
So while these guys do stellar work, I think his guidance is pretty strong as well.
I think I would definitely agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So this one is about a dying man in his 40s who remembers his past, his childhood, his mother, the war, personal moments, and things that tell of the recent history of all the Russian nation. This one goes through color, black and white, and sepia tone scenes, and also features archival and newsreel footage. It was ranked 19th in Sight and Sound's 2012 critics poll of the best films ever made. I believe that's the year that Vertigo took the top spot.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's like, whoa, because it was always Citizen Kane,
Yeah, right.
Citizen Kane. And in Vertigo, and then now we have
the one with the long title that I can't think of.
The one with the long title. Got me to watch it. I watched it, and I was like, I get it, but I'm like, wow, I don't know that I would. I don't know. Interesting movie. Very, very long one. But I like the switcheroo and adding different cultures to it and getting different. Like when I said like, there's people that would complain when they see something like that. I'm like, that's a recommendation. I need to see this.
Yeah, right.
If I have it, so that's what I love about that with it. But so in the next edition, 2022, the one that we just talked about, it dropped to 31st in the critics poll, but moved up one position to 8th in the directors poll. When did you first see Mirror, Stephen?
Well, I first saw Mirror kind of far into having seen most of his other movies. I can't say that it was his last, but it might have been that I saw. It's either Mirror or Nostalgia. I can't remember which I saw last, not counting the student films. But it would have been in the 90s.
Okay.
And I remember renting it on VHS from the Fastest Multimedia specialty video / cinema in Chicago, because that's one place where I could actually get it.
Right.
They specialize in all kinds of movies, and it was close enough to me to be able to go there and actually have an account and rent. And I remember watching it. I think the first time was at my girlfriend's apartment back then. So I mean,
Okay.
I think so that would have been early 90s. And I distinctly remember the opening scene with the stuttering boy being hypnotized, right?
Right.
And how that scene just stands out, uh, and stands out not just because it has no obvious relation to the rest of the movie, but
Right.
it stands out because it's black and white. Stands out because it's it's almost like a fly on the wall kind of a thing. It looks like it's being filmed for a documentary almost,
It's got a shadow of a
So
boom mic in
yeah,
there,
it does. Yeah,
which I don't think anything Tarkovsky does is by accident.
right.
So I think it's intended to make you feel like you're watching a doc or a TV. You're watching a TV program or something like that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely. It's
yeah,
meant to feel artificial.
yeah. So my memory of seeing the whole movie for the first time was one of disappointment, to be honest,
Okay.
because uh, it was less narrative than I was hoping for. Um, and because I didn't quite grasp everything, and because it's meant to be impressionistic.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that I was ready for that at the time. I actually don't know if I'm still ready for that, but
Yeah.
we can, we'll get into details as we go along. So that would be the first time I saw it, and I've seen it now probably 4 times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I saw this movie when recently when the Blu-ray came out.
Mm-hmm.
I'd always, Tarkovsky, like I had holes and I loved him, but I still had holes and didn't, complete my I let Criterion educate me, I guess,
Huh?
with him as well. But it's a movie that I saw this and it was as a cinematography nut,
Mm-hmm.
easily amused by this one. Um, Even though my understanding was kind of confused a little bit of the way the first time through it and seeing what he's doing. And it's very much he's telling his story, but not really giving us ins for ourselves to find in this movie in a way. At first, I think too. Like you're not
Mm-hmm.
like I didn't grow up here. I don't have that Russian connection to this times and stuff, but there's a lot of very just distinct um, scenes, moments, people in this that are like
Mm-hmm.
directly tied to him. So you're just kind of watching his story, but in such an abstract way that leaves you kind of cold, not connected
Yeah.
in it, which is it's going to turn a lot of people off, I'm sure, but it's fascinating to it's a great film upon its revisits. Um, like you find more, you see more. I really dig the way everything hands off to one another.
Mm.
That's really clever how he does that. Um, but it's kind of jumbled and
Yeah, it
I
is.
finding through lines aside from, the mother and ex-wife being the same actor. Like it's I don't know. It's like I like this movie and I can tell you why and I also can't tell you why. It's it's one that I'm just like, I need to watch it again. I need to watch it. Maybe that's his trick. Is that he's,
Yeah.
and it's different in a way than like a Solaris or Stalker, which we'll talk next time, is with that. Or um Andrei Rublev, which those movies, as you experience more in life and get older, when you go back to them, they mean something different. I don't know that this one does that um
Mm.
with that.
That's
Unless
interesting.
like I don't know, it's a very specific mother relationship going on in this movie that it's not what I have. And
Yeah, a
yeah,
warm mother relationship and a cold father relationship, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
I
I
d-
guess a lot of kids would have had the same experience, most likely, I would think.
mhm. It's told, there's vignettes and one of them I can connect with in terms of like how dreams feel, but others, yeah, it's interesting. yeah, go ahead.
Which vignette? Because I'm interested in hearing
Oh,
which vignette is that one is.
the one that gets me is the one where it is when the mother thinks she made a typo.
That this is what I was thinking of before we started talking
Yeah.
earlier tonight. I was going through my head with how do I connect with this movie, and the scene where she rushes back to work and we follow her the whole way, just because she thinks she's made a mistake. It's so much like the dream where you forgot to put your pants on and you're in school, right? It's so much like that dream, that recurring nightmare.
Yes.
Even though it plays out perfectly realistically. It's not, there's nothing weird that happens that would only happen in a dream, but it's the action that she's going through. She thinks she made a mistake. She doesn't know, but she has to find out. So hey, we're on the same wavelength.
Right. Yeah.
That. Totally.
Like that one with the dream where you need to accomplish something and you just can never do it. There's obstacle, obstacle. And like, it feels natural, but it's not. And like, yeah, that's that one really that I'm like, I get that. Yeah. That is totally a dream put to film in such a great way.
Yeah.
Either in nightmarish fashion or everyday calm, collected fashion. But yeah, that vignette really that one I liked a lot. And really to connect with on that one. But yeah, so like it's weird. Like I don't. Do you want to just go vignette by vignette through this? Is that the way to do it, or
well,
how do you feel?
Let's start. First of all, I have to say that I do still have trouble connecting with this movie, and for that reason alone, I think it's one of my least favorite Tarkovsky movies. Not that there's a lot to choose from. So it's like the ranking is very narrow anyway. But it's a mood piece more than a movie. It's something that you just have to let wash over you and not. I feel like it's a tactile movie rather than a story playing in your head, because there is no real narrative here. You can piece one together if you really want to, but I don't think that that's what he was intending for the audience to do. Piece together a story. I think he was really going for those impressions, and it does that very, very well. And it actually reminds me a little bit of Picnic at Hanging Rock, and exactly what I mean by that is how that movie is a mood movie. Yeah, it's telling a traditional narrative. You might not get a clear answer at the end of the movie, but it's still so much a mood thing, an impressionistic whole that I feel it compares favorably. These two movies compare very closely, even though there's significant differences. I think that mirrors starting with the scene where she is sitting outside of the house, and
you're just like, I draw that I tell you what, as disconnected as we can feel, that just the way that shot just drawn in immediately, you're just like, wow, this is
and we get we see a man approaching in the distance, and eventually we recognize him because we've seen him in Tarkovsky movies before.
Yes, we have.
But it feels like a traditional open, like we've had the stuttering boy being cured of his stutter through hypnosis. Now we feel like, oh, okay, now the movie's starting. And it's not.
No, but
it feels like it's the start of a story, but it isn't. But it's an impression of a memory, and that's what that feels like, I think.
Yeah, and I also feel like the opening is one that scene with the mother smoking on the fence and the guy coming is maybe one of the most suspenseful things he's ever done, because you just don't know.
I know what you mean.
This
Yeah.
is like, because you're just like, where's this going? What's he? And he's just a perfectly fine, normal man coming through. But the
Yeah.
way he talks and the way he suspects and stuff like that, you're like, oh no, is she gonna like safely go back to the house and he's gonna try to break it? Like it really,
Yeah.
it plays with your. It sort of plays with the notion that you've seen a few movies before and you're like, oh, I know where this goes. And it's a harmless interaction. But I think it puts you in the defensive position of the mother being alone during war with
Yeah.
her husband away, living out in the middle of nowhere. But then the problem ends up the barn burns and burns beautifully, mind
Oh.
you, one of the best fires ever in film. But
Mhm.
you're just like, oh, that's what happened. And she's like, whatever. They
Yeah.
just watch it burn.
Yeah.
But yeah, the interaction with them, yeah, it's suspenseful, intrigue. Like it's one of my favorite parts of the movie is that. But it's so scattered. It's its own short film itself.
It's like a weird thing to say. It's a favorite part of the movie for me too.
Yeah.
But it's almost like you're not really saying anything to say that, because it's just another scene in the movie. It doesn't lead to anything. Doesn't go anywhere. It's just another impression.
Yeah, the smart thing he does with his movie, it's 105 minutes, whereas a lot of his movies are 2.5 to 3 hours at this point. And if you're going to do something like this, you don't want to sit and keep people for a long time. So that's one of the things that it does get out. And this is like a project he'd been wanting to do early on. Like he'd been through the 60s, not being able to convince people to fund it. Had different iterations, different titles, and then finally, after his successes, was able to pull this one off. But it's interesting because the film, like I said, scattered, but also the perspective of it's scattered too, because sometimes it feels like these are movie scenes, and then others like it's like weird POV stuff, but it's not POV stuff when you're watching.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're in the room, but you're not. Like it's I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but like I feel like I'm sitting in a room, but like no one can hear or see me, but they should. Or it's weird. Like it feels intrusive sometimes, the cinematography. And I don't necessarily think it's because like they're like, oh, it's the adult him, but there's some scenes without the adult him that feel that way too. Like you're a fly on the wall almost with the scenes.
Yeah. I had a bit of a realization of my own earlier when I was thinking about the movie again, and that is, in most of his movies, he lets the camera explore nature a lot. We see a lot of shots of we've talked before about running water and what is
right
in the running water, and trees, always trees, and a lot of shots of nature, and a lot of people interacting with nature, climbing trees, walking through fields, and so on. And then there's also a lot of shots inside houses and things like that. But what I've realized that Tarkovsky does a lot is break the walls down, break open the house is containing what is not nature, and then outside is nature. But a lot of times it's raining inside.
Yeah.
Or water is coming in from outside to the inside, or people simple act as somebody walking through a door and leaving the door open, so that the camera is looking outside. He's constantly opening the windows wide to let nature come into the house, and it's not always just water, but it's other elements too, because the house burns down, the barn burns down in this movie. The house burns down at the end of Sacrifice.
Yes.
So it's fire, it's wind. In this movie, wind plays an important part visually and audibly, and just maybe meaningfully as well. But so I realize now that every time we see nature in his movies, it doesn't necessarily have to be outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
And then looking at it from the other perspective, you get characters who lie down on the ground, which, as an adult, I haven't lain down on the ground. I couldn't even tell you the last time I did that.
Right.
When you're a kid, you do that a lot. But it's like you see adults. We'll talk about Stalker. They take a nap out in the open in the zone. They just lay down, and it's something it's not normal to do when you're when you're an adult living in a city or a suburb or something like that, right?
Right.
So you get a blend of nature. You get a blurring of the lines between nature and, I know I'm saying inside the house is not nature, and it is, but you get my meaning. It's more of a construct than something natural. So
we also, when you're inside, there are some very distinct plants in these interiors that feel intrusive almost, because they're so big or exotic looking rather than just a normal like house plant. They're like tall and long and stuff, so it's almost like nature has invaded in there, like you're saying. Or there's no difference between them. You're inside, there's nature. They're outside, there's nature.
Yeah.
You're inside was created by nature, something like that.
But yeah. That's kind of what I was aiming for there.
Yeah, and the laying down thing, that might be like an old, like, we've grown up in such a like comfortable lifestyles now that we just don't think of laying down, or like put a blanket down first, please. Or something. We're a little bit more prissy than we used to be. So maybe that's something to do with like, many 50 some odd years ago, the way people would just be, that we might not nowadays or something like that. I don't know. Unless we're desperate, we have to do that. But maybe that's something that's gone by with time. I don't know. That we're like, what does that mean? But it might just been like a thing that happened. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of that, because that's an interesting observation too. Because we have like the kids who the like military schoolish thing or something, where they're in the snow and they have the little roll out things that they lay on and stuff like that. And
practicing their shooting.
They're shooting. I have a question here, like, because this has newsreel footage. Does it like hit with you or mean anything to you at all? Because it just kind of falls flat for me.
It does not. And I don't know if you were closer to 1975. I don't know that it would anyway.
Yeah.
I think it only would if you are closer to Tarkovsky's life.
Right. Yeah. Tarkovsky's life, or maybe grew up in Russia. But I did like when there were the guys with the balloon, like seats in the balloons. I'm like, oh, Andrei Rublev. That's what I was like. Even though it might be incidental, but there is Andrei Rublev reference in this movie. But there's a poster, right? That's what it was.
Yes.
Yeah. So like I see that, but like when I saw the balloon guy, I was like, oh, is that an Andrei Rublev thing? Is that what he's somehow referencing here? But I don't know. But no, it's interesting. Think that. But yeah, we get, like I mentioned, like snow is here. We had snow in Rublev, but it was black and white, so we get a real color contrast here. See how cold and stuff it is with the out in the snow here. But that a lot of that being a new aspect of his nature, so like frozen water instead of just water.
And then we get we talked a little bit ago about something that was dreamlike, but it didn't really show anything that can only happen in a dream. In this movie, we do have shots. We have a woman levitating. We have
the hair in the water
disintegrating around her. Yeah, with the water coming down and the plaster falling because there's too much water for the house to handle.
Right.
So it's things like very, very memorable images.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know how, uh, you know, if that's supposed to be a literal memory or if it's supposed to be an impression of something or what exactly. But it's unforgettable when
I think like I think that scene represents too, like he's doing that. It's a memory, but it's also in a like in another dreamlike state where like he's really trying to remember exactly what his mother looked like or who she is, and he can't because the hair's falling in and like
uh,
that, and he can't shake the his ex-wife from that. Um, but yeah, like I felt like yeah, when I saw that, I'm like, it's like if you like turned her around, it'd still be hair. You turn her around, it'd still be
yeah,
hair.
I get
Open up
it.
the hair, there's still hair.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's what that's kind of representing there. But it is some really haunting and spooky looking imagery with the levitation and then the hair washing the saying washing the hair, but she's literally just sitting there with it floating in there coming across.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh man, like J horror totally saw this and ran with it when they did like Ringu and all the J horror stuff back in the late '90s things. I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, this is where they got some of their ghost ideas from. Had to be bunch of mirror fanatics. Like, oh yeah, that's it right there. But for sure, um, yeah, definitely, yeah. And then there's there's the whole like interesting aspect that this guy is. I don't know. Is he like career obsessed? Is that what we're supposed to get from the main character as an adult? Like he doesn't focus too much. Like
Yeah.
his ex-wife is like, I have a better relationship with your mother than you do. Um, like is that because he's like where has he gone with this? Like,
Yeah.
um, does I get there's some issue with his mother. There's the whole part where she sees herself as an older woman or something like that in the mirror. Um, but I can't like I don't it doesn't feel like he's resentful of his mother. It's weird.
Mm.
Like I don't know where I gauge what I fully gauge from it. Does he like mad that she like his father wasn't around? Like it's kind of I don't know. It's up to Tarkovsky to know, but
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I believe that Tarkovsky himself had a better relationship with his father than this
hmm
story presents the father. So that I'm not convinced that it's 100% supposed to be representing his father, but some to some extent, yes.
yeah. There's also I read a comment that or I looked at saw that his Tarkovsky's sister said that Tarkovsky named the film Mirror because he quote unquote understood that he had followed in the footsteps of our father who had also divorced our mother, which
Mm,
Tarkovsky had been through a divorce by this point as well. Um, maybe this is his dealing with it on film, which
mm.
I was like I'm cool with this when you're figuring things out through your art, but what I'm not cool with is when you have like on Golden Pond and you have the Fondas dealing with stuff. I'm like, just go. Like I'm not the world's biggest on Golden Pond fan. I know it's a very popular movie, but I'm just like feel like I'm like, can you guys settle this like in real life and not have to do a movie to get this out? I don't know. It's not it's good on Golden Pond's not like your favorite film, is it, Steven? I just don't
I
know.
don't even remember it. I know I saw it back in whatever 1980 or something like
Yeah.
that, but I don't remember it.
There you go. So yeah, I kind of like this experimental avant-garde, like working out some of your problems things for us all to see. But yeah, it's messier, as we've mentioned. But I think what's neat about this one is it has lucked itself kind of. I don't know how we see it if we see it differently if it came in a different spot in his filmography, but coming
Mm,
from Rublev, Solaris, this, and then going to Stalker, I feel like it's keeping the wheels and going. It's keeping things in motion. This is another interesting turn. The cinematography's keeping up with the others. Everything like okay, but if this was like before Andrei Rublev, would we be like okay, and now things start? You know, I feel like this keeps things running. But if it was like after Stalker, maybe we'd be like, okay, this is where things take, you know, right in here. I'm like, oh yeah, he's on a run, he's doing stuff, but I don't, you know.
So that's an interesting thought
Yeah.
because I think the way I feel is that it feels like a hiccup. It feels like a road bump.
Mm-hmm.
It feels out of place. It feels like a movie that should have come last or second to last in his filmography.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, and I don't know if I'm just making that observation because it's supposed to be sort of the memories of a dying man, and you know, therefore I would expect it to come towards the end
Right.
of
Yeah.
someone's
No. Yeah.
life. But I honestly think that introspection comes later in life, and that the success of the stories and the main story that he's telling in Andrei Rublev and Solaris, well, he's telling someone else's story there, obviously, but um, it feels like it feels like, when I said, a road bump, because Stalker is also telling someone else's story. But in the middle of all of these stories, we're getting one that really isn't a story.
No. No. Yeah. Like
And it's so personal. It feels like it is out of place.
Yeah. Stalker feels like it should follow Solaris. Like
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And he's just a guy that I feel like he is a film, you know, filmmaker, auteur stuff, but like he's only gonna make a movie if he's inspired to make a movie. Like if he feels, you know, like if Solaris, he did Solaris, and then like he didn't feel like he'd be fine not making another movie. Like I like it's weird. Like he's not a guy that's like just hard up. Like I gotta keep making movies. I gotta keep making movies. He could like if he'd have lived longer, he probably would have had like a Stanley Kubrick gap, or Stanley Kubrick or uh what's his name that did Tree of Life and stuff that used to be like ever forever
Oh,
before
Terrence Malick.
Terrence Malick, yeah, used to have gaps like okay, I'm inspired, I'm doing this, okay, I'm inspired, like John Carpenter hasn't directed a movie in forever because she's like, I'm not inspired to do one, so I'm not going to force one out. And yeah, like I feel like that's where Tarkovsky kind of lands, and this was the one that, but it was in there, and then I think he finally got the clout to make it, so he makes it, and that's
and
why we have it here.
immediately draws the ire of the Soviet film industry.
Yes,
and the officials, and say, you know, you can't make a movie that nobody understands. This is too confusing. Nobody's going to get this.
Yeah.
He had a hell of a time with this movie.
This is the for me film.
Yeah, right. Sight and Sound. I subscribe to Sight and Sound magazine, and that the last the current issue is on 1975.
Okay.
And it's a retrospective of a bunch of movies that came out in 75, and they reprint some articles from the time. And one of the articles in the current issue is an article on Mirror that was published in the 1975 Sight and Sound, alongside articles on Jaws and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and all these other movies, Salo, and you know. So I just, you know, coincidentally, we were going to talk about Mirror this month, and I got this magazine that has an article on Mirror in it, and so I know that's well documented with all the troubles that he had with the Soviets, with the officials, the party officials, with his movie making. But you know, very few people actually saw this movie until, you know, recent decades.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right.
Like me.
Yeah. But you know, it's not like it you know, hit the theaters and people were going to see it and talking about
lines bigger than The Exorcist.
Yeah. So there's that. There's it's almost like if he hadn't made this movie when he did,
Mm-hmm.
he would have never made it.
Right.
You know, it's like he had to do it now. He had to do it in 75, or that was like the only time. Well, I mean, obviously he fled the country later and was able to make more what he wanted to do, but I know that he was never fully satisfied anyway. Right. So I learned a lot in that article about the release of the movie at the time, because it was a contemporaneous article. You know, it was written in 1975. So it's very interesting if anybody is looking for a magazine to pick up and read, get the latest Sight and Sound.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's highly touted in critic circles and stuff like that, and whether I'm hot and cold, hot and cold, off and on throughout the film, like I am extremely fascinated by it. Like I'm able to go back to it and just like, okay, this is the time. Maybe this connects with me. Maybe this, like it lends itself to it. It's visually, I enjoyed a lot on a watch, but like digging into it, I'm just kind of like, okay. I mean, and sometimes you kind of just got to find a vibe and just roll with it with a movie. And this one, you definitely need that to help get through it.
Well, also one of the things that we were talking about before we started recording was how we used to watch movies on VHS. And I said the first time I saw this movie was on VHS.
Right.
You cannot compare what you're seeing on a Blu-ray, a remastered copy of Mirror, where the colors, everything is sharp and clean, and the colors are very, very vivid and real. There's no, the color timing is total realism. It's not jacked up. It's not muted. It's not skewed towards teal. It's
well, and she's not even wearing makeup in this movie. That's a crazy thing. Yeah.
Well, and I think about how the visuals have so much to do with how this movie can impact the viewer, that seeing it in a movie theater, you're going to have an experience similar to seeing it on Blu-ray. Seeing it on VHS tape at home on a 19-inch color tube TV is not going to have the same impact. So did I feel was I affected more by the presentation at the time when I first saw it? I'm sure I was affected by it, but that how much of an effect, that could have been significant.
Well, I mean, there's detail too. Like you can't even see like rain probably drizzling outside a window, especially in these sepia tone scenes, which probably look like straight black and white on a VHS.
Yeah,
you didn't even know the difference between that and with a VHS 2 compared to like even a DVD is not going to get you this. Like you see a Blu-ray or even on the 4K. Well, there's no 4K of this yet, but when you get to those, like every restoration, the scope just feels bigger. Even if you're at home, it will look bigger. You'll feel the enormity of the cinematography when you see it. That's one thing that really can stand out. And on Blu-ray, it looks fantastic. When they eventually get to this on a 4K, it's going to even look more stunning. Yeah, the depth will push back and feel a bit more, and like you'll just it'll look like a print. It'll look quite good. The Blu-ray already looks amazing.
It looks fantastic. Yeah.
And they don't mess around with his work. But yeah, I'm surprised. I was upset like hell. A couple years ago, we had the 50th anniversary of Solaris, and we got no 4K for it. I was very like that movie. That I was very like I think that and Cabaret came out the same year, and I was like, where are my 4Ks for those? I got neither. I was very upset about that. But yeah, that definitely. If you saw this back in the VHS era, like maybe even in Laserdisc, you probably didn't even get it like that good. Like, always give like because sometimes just the visuals will welcome you into something enough that you're going to go with it and focus even better on a movie than before. And yeah, if your experience with Tarkovsky stuff was falling asleep to it on VHS back in the day, pick it up again.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie definitely, yeah, especially the farm scenes, those are excellent.
Mhm.
I think the black and white stuff in the newsroom, like the Nightmare we're showing, look quite good too. Even for being the interiors, they feel gigantic. Um, but yeah, it's a movie that you definitely need to surrender yourself just in it real quick and kind of just witness what's going on rather
Mhm.
than sit and
You watch it almost like they watch the barn burn.
right.
You
Yeah,
know?
that that's actually a perfect analogy. To be honest with you, like yeah, watch it. Like he's trying to tell you, just watch the barn burn. This is my life burning down. Watch it burn.
Just watch it burn. Yeah.
Just watch it burn. Because yeah, he loses custody of his child. Like his mother's relationship's bad. Like he struggles to figure out what is wrong with it. But yeah, no, that is a good analogy. Is that yeah, yeah, I like that. As much as, that's perfect.
Honestly, I remembered the scene with the barn burning,
Mhm.
but I remembered it coming much farther into the movie than
Oh,
it
so they
actually
open,
does.
yeah.
Yeah, it's right. It was right near the beginning. I remembered it being in the middle or more towards the end, but
Mhm.
and I'm not confusing it with Sacrifice. I know that.
Well, that's how dreamy and wishy-washy the movies
Mm,
can be. Like they just there's no while we have a point A to point B, there's no real hard narrative. Like you could re-edit this movie in a different way and get the same result or
yeah.
even a new look on it too. Like that's how it is. And who knows, maybe he didn't even intend for it to go in this order or be or play this way, or he just luckily found in the editing room, hey, he says that here, and we could start with this scene that starts with them saying that or
Mm,
having a thing, like it's so amazing. Like I don't think people appreciate editors, but there's an art to it that I don't think people understand as an art and how they
mm,
can find things. Like I always want to know, like just to bring up Mr. John Carpenter again, he always says he didn't find the movie The Thing. He's like, I didn't find out what this movie was until I got in the editing room,
mm,
until I they had done their original shoot. He got in the editing room. He says he discovered the movie there and then went and reshot a couple things. And then they came back and he had this movie. But I'm like, well, what was it that you were shooting before if you didn't know what the movie was about? So like, it just wonders, it makes me wonder, I'm like, what's the work print of this thing look like compared to what the final product was? Did you like find, cause like you can tell a completely different story if you have all the footage and stuff that isn't even like the script, but you can make it work through editing. It's insane what you can
yeah.
do in that and make people believe and buy into things how they are. I mean, seeing like, now that we live in this glorious age of getting other cuts of movies and seeing
Hmm.
things edited differently, it's just like, wow, okay.
Hmm.
Um, just like I'm fascinated with the TV cut of Halloween 2. That if that was anyone's first time ever seeing it, holy crap. I think it's a disaster. Like just the way it's put together. But it's the power of editing that can make someone just like, oh, that's how it is, sure.
Mm,
But yeah, I have to wonder with this film if it was just kind of it, if the editing process was as abstract as the movie comes across.
mm.
Like I just was the script this? Well, we could probably find the script somewhere, but I don't know. Or was
Well,
it just
there's an
like
early
scene and
draft
scenes?
in the Blu-ray set.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Well, I didn't read it,
Is it
but
in the booklet?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, gotcha. I haven't read the book. I have so many Criterion booklets I've never read. I,
Well, yeah, me too.
have them all and never read. They're just like the Doctor Who collection Blu-rays where they have like a billion like text documents if you put them in on
Right.
PDFs, and I'm just like, oh, it's like I think I went through 'em. I don't read like I've gone through like I like it when they have like advertisements or old like clippings from like what would be their equivalent Radio Times
Mhm.
ads and stuff for them. Like I like looking at those and old like ads for like ice cream pops and things like that. But like when they have all these like shooting schedules and notes and all this, like, oh, it's a lot. It's like thousands of pages. But
Yes.
yeah.
Thank you for putting
Thank
all
you,
this
Richard
on.
Bignall. Richard Bignall, you are a great man. You scan documents very well, but holy crap, it's a lot. And I want to have it. I'm glad I have it, but I have not
Exactly.
had time to go through it. So yeah,
Exactly.
but yeah, so but yeah, okay. So the mirror, I might peruse through that and check that out
Yep.
because but yeah, like I have a ton of criterions with and Arrow. They put essays out too,
Oh
and
yeah. Yeah.
I just like, oh yeah, cool, and then I never read. I have friends who write those things, and I should read those. But yeah, oh yeah, a lot of stuff. So, do you have any more on Mirror?
um I will say I was a little bit dreading our discussion because I wasn't sure that I would find enough to talk about
Yeah.
because I'm not as into this movie as I am his other movies. So
No, it's hard
um
because we're witnessing. Like I said, it's more like you're witnessing things, and we can
yeah.
just like re-describe the events that happen. But that's boring. Like
Yeah,
it's
right,
like,
yeah.
and then this, and then he does this. Well, that was nice. So yeah, I get you. I get you right there. I was wondering too. I'm like, I was like, because I was like, did I do enough research? Am I feel it? Like I didn't
Mm,
feel. I was worried about coming this episode last week, and I had because we were originally going to record. The people who listen don't know we were gonna record it at a certain time. That didn't work out, so we did it a week later. But I was prepped to go. He and Steven was prepped to go that for that one, and I didn't feel prepared when I did that one. I didn't feel prepared when I came to this one, but I was, I guess.
mm,
Like,
yeah,
and
yeah.
talking through it, I'm like, yeah, I guess I was prepared. I guess we had our thoughts, but this is just such a weird movie to try
Mm,
to dive in like that. And critic Antti Alanin called the film Space Odyssey into the interior of the psyche. Sure. And that yeah, can describe how makes it hard for us to like kind of
yeah.
it's a singular person's psyche that definitely I didn't grow up in Russia. I didn't grow up in like World War II, so there's a lot of things I'm not connected to, and it's nothing that like knowing history, reading history books, or watching films or TV from the era can really help you prepare for or uh, build a bridge to connect
Mm,
to. It's very personal. So then like the things you're going to be attached to is like Steve and I, the dream about being unable to be completing a task. That's what we like feel. But we were like, ooh, look, pretty fire. That's what we connect to. So if
yeah.
you've never seen Mirror, be forewarned that it's gonna be tough. It's fascinating. I think you should check it out, but it's very tough to kind of like glean on and be like, did I enjoy this? Did I feel confused by this? Was I right on it? Did I? Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
tough one. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's not impenetrable, but it takes a little bit of patience and just I think more than one viewing. To be honest,
yeah,
your first impression I think is not going to be great. Maybe
yeah.
it will be.
Maybe we'll be.
Maybe it will be, but I
I
think you
was fine.
need to
My
watch it
first
more than
impression was
once.
more like I like these visuals. That was my first impression,
Hmm.
and I like the kind of confusion I had because I'm like, I might need to study this more. But after multiple watches of this, I'm still sort of not far off from where I first started.
Hmm.
So who
And maybe
knows?
that makes it even more rewarding
Yeah,
because
yeah.
watching it over and over again can bring new things to
Hmm.
your mind.
Something I read did make sense. Christopher Nolan said that this particular film was an influence on Oppenheimer, particularly in the cinematography category,
Hmm.
which moving from color to the sepia tone stuff to, you know, showcase past and present things like that, and definitely cinematography. But I think most of his movies have been inspired by Kubrick and Tarkovsky cinematography to
Hmm.
begin with, so there is that. But yeah, that does make some sense for
Yeah.
to bring it to modern times and show what Tarkovsky has influenced. But I thought Andrei Rublev was one of his influences on Oppenheimer too. But hearing this one,
Hmm.
that makes sense as well. But yeah, so I guess that will that's us Hold on here. I'm going to get cheesy. That's us reflecting on mirror.
Very good. Very
There you
well
go.
done.
Yeah. So next time we'll be back in August. I think this one's going to make it July. So if you're listening to this in August, you might get another one in August. But where we'll talk Stalker from 1979, which very exciting. When I was first starting this show, the Brandon Peters Show, early on, like within 2 months, I had multiple people requesting I talk about Stalker on my show, which I was like, I don't know if I want to just do a Tarkovsky just randomly. I kind of want to do the full thing, and now here we are, 5 years later, doing it. So if you were somebody who requested Stalker long ago and you're still here, awesome! It's finally happening.
And we didn't even know each other 5 years ago, right?
We didn't know each other 5 years ago. I had to go search for the perfect partner to do this with. So that's what happened. Like that's why it didn't happen. And then Steven went to tryouts. He got pretty far. It was good. So there we go. So Steve, where can people keep up with you?
Yeah, best place. Well, we talked about my Twitch show, which is Mondays and Fridays. And I'm on Gallifrey Base, the Doctor Who discussion forum, gallifreybase.com. And I'm on Facebook, Stephen W. Hill.
All right. And I'm on the socials at Brandon4KUHD. As mentioned, this will be back next month, which is August, for Stalker. But in the meantime, the summer of 2015 at 10 is rounding the corner into the final month. And following this episode on Friday will be music video companion series where on the particular one, Jennifer Rafer and I are going to talk Fight Song, the very popular anthem that came out that year. And so thank you for listening to this episode and all the episodes you hear around here. Thank you, Steve, again. And till next time, stay film positive.
Thank you for listening. The Brandon Peters Show is a Creative Zombie Studios production. Produced by Brad Shoemaker and Brandon Peters. Written and edited by Brandon Peters. Announcer vocals by Jessica Alsman. Theme song by Metavari. Web design and show art by Brad Shoemaker with Brandon Peters. All music and clips featured in the episode are property of their respective studios and no infringement is intended. Additional information on this and other episodes at BrandonPetersShow.com. For any inquiries, press opportunities, or sponsorship, contact mail at BrandonPetersShow.com. The show is available on Apple Music, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts are found.